Yo boys, welcome everybody, this is FPL Josh and today we've got another video of my best captain and my best player options for game week 4. As you can see, I have changed my Emerson to Trippier. I did say that was a possibility of me trading that yesterday in my video, so that's something we're going to look into. But we're going to start off by looking at our captaincy option for this week, and the captain of the week for me, who has already been captained by 88% of the pros, where we did 100 people and see you captain the most, and 88% of the pro managers of FPL have picked Salah as their captain, with 4% Kane, 4% for Haaland, and 4% for Jesus on average at the minute. Haaland was technically 4 point something, but rounded up, they're about 4 each. He's my favourite captain for this week. Obviously, you've got to remember there is a midweek game coming up, so it's not a double game week, guys. Don't think next week is a double game week. Don't panic and think it's a double game week. You'll have to change your team because it's not. It's just one of those cases where we've just got a mid-game week, which you'll obviously put your team in on Monday, and they'll be ready for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, as follows. But what you'll have to remember is that he will be a great option next week, just not the mid-game week because of Newcastle. I prefer Jesus because he has got Aston Villa that week, which all in all, Aston Villa is such a better pick than Newcastle for captaincy. Haaland has got Nottingham Forest, but I'd recommend captain Jesus because Forest and Man City's game, he could be rotated out because I know he didn't play the Barcelona game, so he will play Crystal Palace, but could be voted out in that Nottingham Forest game. Where the Villa game, I think he won't be rotated, so that's a great captaincy option depending on who Salah's got that week. Look, Salah has got Everton, so yeah, you captain him that week instead of Haaland or Jesus anyway. The Wolves game, I'd captain him because Haaland's got Spurs. I think Jesus has got quite a tough fixture and all, hasn't he? Game week 7 he's got Everton. Game week 6 he's got Man U. Sorry, not Haaland. What about game week 7 for Salah? So Wolves, yeah. So you'd obviously captain Salah, then Jesus the week after, 6 and 7. Those are my captain picks for like the next 3 weeks. And then for my main team, I'm still going to stick. I've gone and changed it up, so I've got Raya in goal now. Instead of Meslier and Pope, I've gone Raya and Sanchez because it offers better rotation. I can rotate these two between each other, and they don't face each other in the next weeks, I don't think. So I'm not having that clash that I would have had. Because they haven't got Brighton until week 11, and that far down, I can either transfer one of them out to a Leeds goalkeeper or make 2 transfers and go into a Ramsdale later on after the Arsenal fixtures are tough, or I can just suck a week up where I could possibly drop some points, but I'd still back him because of Tony in my team, so I would back him. But look at the Everton fixtures where Tony's so good. Up until that game week 12, all these fixtures are quite nice apart from the Arsenal one. But I wouldn't play any Arsenal defenders that week for me, personally, because I think Tony will score goals. I still think Arsenal will come out with the win, but that wouldn't be the week I'd play my Saliba. But it's set to rotate, so like, Arnold's got Newcastle next week, so I won't play Trippier. But then Trippier I will rotate out for Saliba, who's got Villa. And then the Man United game, I'll obviously play Arnold, Everton, and Trippier, because I don't think they've got a tough fixture game week 6. Crystal Palace, but I prefer Crystal Palace to my home team Man U, so I'd rather not play Saliba that week. I think we will probably lose to Arsenal. Depends though. We are playing quite good. We beat Liverpool 2-1, but I do see Arsenal probably winning the Prem this year the way they've been playing. I think they're a solid team, and it's unlike me to rate Arsenal as my new fan, but they're quite solid this season. And I think these fixtures are just great in general. Now, I have actually got someone who's in my chat asking about their team, which they did say they had Jadon Sancho. Now, in my opinion, I would look at replacing Jadon Sancho for maybe Marcus Rashford longer term. He is good next week, but I'd either replace him for Marcus Rashford or Rodrigo longer term. If we hop over to my statistics here and we have a look at the statistics, obviously, next week, Salah's expected a 9.3 predicted points, with a Haaland predicted an 8 predicted points. Which, against Crystal Palace, be honest, I think Jesus will score more against Fulham. You got to remember the predicted points aren't always correct. They count last season's performance and seasons before as well as this season's intact, plus the game weeks and all. And it takes obviously their team's expected goals, their expected goals, how they scored the goals from penalties and stuff. It takes that all into account. It's not just like the simple things that it takes into account. But I think if Haaland does get rotated, my option would be to go De Bruyne. I would definitely not go Kane if he gets rotated. But looking at these right here, if you want to get rid of Sancho and you can afford to go to a Diaz, that looks like a good move. Great move. And this is one of my viewers, by the way, asking me these questions about Sancho, so I'm just going to look into that in a minute. But I think my favourite midfielders for teams in general this minute are my favourite players. If we go down to here, it's definitely going to be Martinelli, Cancelo, Perisic. Alvarez, I wouldn't touch this guy. He will get rotated with Haaland, but Haaland will still get 20 to 30 minutes minimum. And he'll only get rotated once every like 2 games. So you're probably looking at 150, 180 minutes a week minimum, I think. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. And we move on to the third page where we've got Mounts, your Foldens, your Smith Rowes, Odegaards and stuff like that. These are kind of things where you got to ignore because Smith Rowe will not get playing time and will not get that points. Odegaard was a one-off. I wouldn't even think about transferring him in. It was a lucky pull. Anyone who had him last week, I had him in my free hit just because I couldn't afford to go to a Zaha. I had a punt with him in my free hit, but it's not something I'd recommend long term. I was surprised he didn't get me a 2-pointer, to be honest, and what he got, but it was one of those lucky things. Now, for Sessegnon, I wouldn't, because him and obviously Perisic are getting rotated a lot, but Perisic will start getting minutes now, I think, for Conte. Now he's getting the assists, and I think he's an explosive player that will get you the assists longer term. And I think, yes, Sessegnon's a million cheaper, but I probably think, in my head and how I'm feeling right now, that Perisic will get more game time. I prefer him. Now, if we move on to page 4, where we start getting to your James and Kulusevskis and stuff. James, in my opinion, everyone will say yes, he's a premium defender. He will get you clean sheets, but the way Chelsea's defence are looking, and with Koulibaly out next game, and I'm with me wildcarding, looking long term as well at the fixtures, I opted to go without him. I think Trippier long term is a better option, and even if he doesn't keep clean sheets, as you saw in the City game and in his statistics, he offers attacking threat that no one else does. So I think he's just such a worthy option for what he offers. Now, Phillips will discard this. You can ignore this. This is irrelevant because Liverpool have been playing horrific. This was his predicted points based on how he was playing, not the clean sheets, obviously. Now, Arnold was predicted a 7.5 point when I looked today, but this hasn't been updated for the Liverpool players yet, but has been updated for the top players, as far as I'm aware. Because Salah's predicted points was 7.5 last week, and he's got 9.3 predicted points this week, so it has been updated. Just Arnold was a 7 when I looked, and he's been updated to a 7.5 about 15 minutes ago, so that's just not been updated yet. Now, if we move down to here, this is where it gets a bit more weird, because I think Tony at 5 point for me, yeah, 5 predicted points, people think, okay, he's 7.2 mil, 5 predicted points, Jesus, yes, he's a better option if you don't have him. But I think Tony against Everton and his next like 7 out of like the next 9 fixtures are great fixtures for him that he will start scoring goals. And I could see at Everton he will score a hat-trick in my opinion, or get like 2-3 goals. Because last game he had 2 goals that were denied and he had a goal. And I think one of those goals shouldn't have been offside in my opinion. The one was, fair enough. I think Zinchenko will keep you clean sheets most weeks, but next week I don't want to risk having any Arsenal at the back just because that Fulham game. And Mitrovic is really dominating sides right now and does scare me a bit for clean sheets. So anyone who's again against Fulham, unless it's your likes of City and Liverpool, I wouldn't be sticking those defences like Arsenal against Fulham because I think they will concede. I know they'll win like 3-1, but I do think they'll concede. And this will be our last page for actually irrelevant stuff, which is page 6, which we'll talk about Diaz. Now for me, Diaz is okay, but he will be rotated with Ake. Now, we looked into Ake last video, and I did say he had the injury, which was a possible 2 to 8 weeks. Looking online now, it was supposed to be a hamstring difficulty, but he's recovering. and it looks more like a knock. Because the data we had at the time was hamstring, it looked like. But it seems he's got more of a knock, so he should play next game when he's fully rested, or he'll play the game after that midweek. But I think maybe he'll miss one game. And I think Diaz won't play over Ake. I think he'll implement Stones more in for Diaz, because Diaz will start playing in the Champions League. So I would try and stop away from him. Walker as well will be rotated, but I mean, he'll play like 2 games and be rotated out and then probably play 30 minutes of a game. So he's still got that opportunity to get your points. So I'd still stay with Walker personally, just not get Diaz. And then I think for me, Rashford, I'm a Man United fan, so it's going to be a biased opinion. I'm going to warn you guys, but I do think he has good form with good potential if we play good. So he's not someone I jump on right now, unless you're downgrading a Sancho into a Rashford or Rodrigo, or like your likes of Harrison. It's not someone I jump on, but I think he does offer potential attacking returns in the coming weeks. I just see how that Southampton game goes before you jump the gun on him. Same with Sancho. I think there will be gems come games where we start playing good. It's whether we can get the team to start gelling more for that to happen. So he's a bit of a risky one for me at the minute. So I'd stay clear for now until at least we've got a little bit more data. We have only got 3 game weeks worth of data, so anything can happen yet. We could have injuries. We could have players not performing they should. We could have players outperforming. It's just being a patient game at the minute. Then my next pick would be Martial from Man United. This is, say, the same thing as Rashford. I think he's great in my opinion. I'd prefer to have him up front longer term when he's back and recovered fully. Obviously, we only saw him play 45 minutes last game, but he did play really good. And then another one like Alanga was playing really good for us and all. So those are some ones I will look to put in my team longer term, once after the next wild card. But this is my personal opinion at the minute for a Man U fan. But I do think for everyone in general, once he actually starts playing good and people see he starts scoring goals again like he did pre-season. He scored 2 goals against Liverpool pre-season and he was really good, phenomenal. I think with that injury did knock him back and made people obviously not buy him because of that. So we just need to wait longer term and see how he plays. And I'm going to give him like 2 weeks so he plays. If he plays really good, then I think people will start implementing him in the team. It just the likes of Tony and your Wilsons. Obviously, Wilson has got a knock, so he probably won't be playing. Apparently, it could be a 2-week injury though, that. But they have got that new Isaac striker, so I'd probably look at other terms as well. I think he's a possibility. It's a risky one and a differential, so I'd probably stay away myself because I don't want to be too different this year. I want to kind of have my different opinions, but still stick with the players I think play solid. Now, Emerson Royale was in my team, and I do probably think I'll bite myself in the arse and he'll go and score a goal or get an assist against Forest next week. I just don't want to have him over Trippier when Trippier offers more attacking returns, and I don't want to have to hold Emerson for just 3 weeks and get rid of him for a transfer where Trippier, yes, I won't be playing in the Liverpool game, but the next like 5-6 games afterwards he will play. So he's a longer term option. Yes, I might lose out on something from Emerson possibility, but I'd rather risk that and have Trippier instead. And then Cucurella, I ain't really got much to say on this guy. I don't like him personally for Chelsea defenders at the minute, the way the Chelsea defence is, so I'd try and stay clear of him. I prefer Walker, Emerson, or Trippier. I really prefer Trippier to him. I think Trippier is not going to get rotated, where Walker has got a chance of missing the game every 2 games. So, and I think same for Cucurella. When Chelsea start playing more games, he could miss midweek games. Because obviously they have a game every 3 days. It's going to start to really catch on to the players like Haaland as well. So I'd try and stay clear of this one. And then if we move back over to my team here and we take another look, we'll just go over why I have picked Raya and the Sanchez combo. The reason is, because if you look at the games, Everton, Crystal Palace, solid, and then Southampton, and obviously the Arsenal game here and the Leeds game here, which is 6 and 8. If you go on to Sanchez, game week 6 we've got Leicester, and game week 8 we've got Crystal Palace, which looks more good fixtures. Obviously 9 and 10 we are going to go and have to play Raya or Sanchez, which is a bit of a risky game for me because obviously 9 Bournemouth but then 10 Newcastle, so I'll have to probably wing it and play Trippier and probably just take that concede. But then come Brighton 11, I'll play Sanchez or Raya, depends on who's playing better. But then if you look, He's got Nottingham Forest, but then that Man City Chelsea game, if you look at Raya, those two really hard fixtures. He's got Aston Villa, Wolves, and Nottingham Forest, and then I've got the wild card the week after for game week 16-17. So I have set myself up, apart from one bad game week, where I will have to take a conceded goal for one of them. I think Tony would score against, obviously, Brighton, but I think Brighton would score against Brentford, so I might have to take that hit. Or I can just go and transfer him out for possibly Meslier or whoever's got a good fixture that week, and then just get him back in. But I don't think I'd kill a transfer like that, so I might just obviously not have the clean sheet for 1 week. So I think the rest of them are pretty much guaranteed clean sheets at the minute for me. So I think that's great. I'll apologise if you can see these files here. I forgot I had them up. They were only because I was sorting out the files for my next video. But if I quickly do that. But anyway, this was only a short video, so I can always put those out. But I think the main problem for me was not having that solid opinion on Arnold this week. I'm worried about Arnold. I don't want to diverse away from him because I think everyone is going for more Arnold. I think everyone who's transferred him out, like that 300k, it's a ridiculous transfer for me. So we are going to talk more on that, but I want you guys to leave your teams in the comments. And I think my best top 3 players for this week to transfer in would be Perisic, Trippier, and Rodrigo. And if I could pick a 4th, I know this is supposed to be top 3, but if I could pick a 4th, it would be Ivan Toney, definitely. He's just a bit more harder to get to than any of the others. And I think if Haaland does get rotated, I'll be looking at bringing Kane in. I might still have Kane this week, but I'll do an updated team tomorrow. It should still be the same tomorrow on my video, though. So we should still be good. But yeah. But thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. This has been FPL Josh. I hope you have an amazing day. Hope you have a great season. Lots of respect. See you guys in the next one. Peace.